After hours of preparation, Brian Cardinal has been here since 7 o'clock this morning getting ready for this show. And now we're here. Brian Cardinal, Brian Newbert, and you can see it here. I'm never going to get one of these things, but this is tell us what this is.
Oh, this is our championship ring from 2011.
When did you guys win a championship?
Oh, Dallas Mavericks.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Beat the mighty Heat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was fun. So I bring it every once in a while just for special occasions like this.
It doesn't get any more special than this, I'll tell you that. Well, how the show works, you can send us your questions. He's got places to go, people to see, so to speak. So he's only going to be here for segment 1. But we've got questions for Brian. Certainly feel free to chime in with them. And then, of course, Brian Newbert will come up with some good questions. Also, our sponsors, want to thank them. Hilton Garden Inn, when tomorrow's a big day. Stay at HGI tonight. Basham Rentals. Did you ever rent from John Basham in your days at Purdue? I don't know. Maybe you don't remember your landlords?
I tried not to have too much.
Okay, well, yeah, Purdue students,
landlords.
find your way home with Basham Rentals and XXX Family Restaurants. My guess is you've had late nights at XXX occasionally.
XXX, that's my spot.
There you
Good
go.
spot.
On the hill and on the level, but on the levels. Purdue tradition since 1929. Of course, State Farm agent Trent Johnson, also a sponsor of the show. Brian, welcome. And you've got a big weekend, obviously. Anytime you have an event the size of tomorrow night, Purdue football, I know you're a basketball guy, but this is a big weekend for all of Purdue athletics.
Oh, it is. I'm excited to, obviously the football game will be great. I've got a lot of friends that are going to be tailgating from the early morning till the game. And it's a big weekend for recruits. Have a lot of recruits in across the board, not just any one specific team. And so it's going to be an exciting weekend, exciting day, and I'm excited.
Yeah, and we talked off the air, but when they say that, I know Purdue's a heavy underdog tomorrow, but you've been in that role before. It's that still presents possibilities. It's why they play the game, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I think we're an underdog, but the beauty of of athletics in general is you have to play the game, and you never know what's going to happen. We might intercept the ball and might get a fumble. Next thing you know, we're up 14-0. It's sports in general, I think, are fantastic just because you compete, and we're going to have an awesome crowd there tomorrow. It's going to be under the lights, and it should be a lot of fun.
Just wanted to ask you real quick, how much does that weigh? Thing looks like a glacier.
It is massive. I haven't weighed it 3 pounds. 3 pounds. It's no, I'm not sure how much it weighs, but it's
significant.
Yeah, it's significant.
But you don't wear it all the time. You just wear it for special occasions.
Yeah, just special occasions. Go to get gas, grocery
Black
store,
Live.
Golden Black Live,
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
But I break it out every once in a while.
I don't know how we can be so lucky. I mean, that's what I feel like from that standpoint. All right, and obviously when you talk about your role in athletics, working in athletic fundraising, but kind of the Pied Piper of Purdue athletics too, just to such a popular figure while you played and since you've played. But talk about that role and what that's been like for you to be back in the department and serving not only the John Purdue Club but all Purdue Athletic and all of its fans.
No, it's been fantastic. Just the opportunity to come back. Be a part of Purdue again. I call it coming back home. Being able to see, the inner workings, what everyone does in the John Purdue Club office, it's amazing. And I'm excited to be a part of them. I'm excited to represent Purdue once again. And we have a lot of things going on in the community, a lot of things, obviously athletically, that are exciting to be a part of. And I'm obviously just thankful to be back and try to contribute.
What's been just from a business perspective and a learning curve? What are the things that you've had to learn the most in terms of just? You have a great personality and you seem to be at ease being around people, but there's some challenges, there's some nuance, I'm sure, to this gig that requires you to get up to speed.
Yeah, it's first off, I'd like to thank my staff with the John Purdue Club. They've been at it much longer than what I have. And we're approaching my 1-year anniversary, which is exciting. But just to be able to go out and communicate, how things are funded, what the John Purdue Club is, what we represent, to be able to connect with the alumni, the fans, that's fun. It's I'm learning every day, And the exciting thing is I've got great people to teach me and help kind of bring me along.
Yeah, we got a question already. What role do you play, and I know this is a big recruiting weekend like you mentioned, but what role do you play, not only I assume with basketball guys, but all recruits that come in? What is your main message and thing that you need to do over the weekend when they're visiting?
Well, my main role is obviously working for the John Purdue Club, but with that I'm able to interact with the recruits, with the athletes, essentially just drive home the message that Purdue is a wonderful academic institution. Athletically, we're some of the best in the country. And talk about the facilities, talk about what Purdue meant to me and my family and how it helped propel me into the professional sports. And, and just essentially just talk about Purdue, talk about what we, about the tradition, and, just try to help sell Purdue and hopefully get some good recruits.
Yeah, no question.
When you're a professional athlete, that's not a conventional lifestyle, and you often hear people talk about when people leave that life, they have a hard time transitioning into the real world. You don't seem like the sort of personality type that, playing in the NBA would make you crazy, like a lot of guys used to play with or against. But just, I suppose, how much comfort have you taken as you've transitioned out of the NBA, coming back, as you said, home? Somewhere you're familiar with.
Oh, it's been great. I think the transition for anybody, whether you're a professional athlete or whether you've worked in a particular field for X amount of years, if you really love your job, it's always hard to transition away from that love. And my position at Purdue has allowed me to transition from not only playing NBA basketball, but it's allowed me to still be around athletics. It's allowed me to be around the great alumni that we have, and it's allowed me just to stay connected with sports. And so the transition is difficult for a lot of people, and it's not easy. I still wish I was playing.
Yeah.
I wish I was playing until I'm 80, but realistically, it's just not possible. And so the time was I was ready to retire, and thankful to be able to transition and move on to the next phase.
Now talk about, just 2 years ago you win the championships and you beat LeBron and D Wade and the big three. A lot of people didn't think you were going to be able to do that, but talk about, do you still look back when you wake up in the morning sometimes and realize, my gosh, I did that 2 years ago and was part of something that special?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. To be able to survive in the NBA was fantastic. To be able to play 12 years, to be able to win a championship. It's one thing to win a championship, but it's another to be able to impact and really contribute and have some sweat equity in it. And it's mind blowing to think that we won an NBA championship. I still text with several of those guys, and it's a pretty amazing accomplishment. If you look at the past champions. It's amazing that I'm able to call myself an NBA champion, and it was an awesome ride, and one that I was thankful for.
When you look back coming out of high school, if I recall correctly, you weren't even sure for a while there you could play at Purdue, let alone in the NBA. Do you kind of look back at that now and just realize how wrong you were?
No, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I still remember walking out of Mackey with tears in my eyes after one of the first open gym games, thinking, what in the world am I doing? It's been a crazy emotional roller coaster. From coming here, getting a scholarship, graduating, being able to survive for 12 years. It's been fantastic. But I think you always have those moments that do you fit, do you belong, and I think that's what motivated me, that fear of failure, and I think that helped drive me along the way.
Okay, getting several questions in here, but a good one here from Boilers Rock. What do you see as the challenges that for Coach Matt Painter, or even for Gene Keady in his days recruiting to Purdue? Purdue is not a place necessarily for everyone, and yet why is it difficult? Why do you think it's difficult to sometimes to get kids here? What's the challenge, do you think?
Oh man, who was that from?
That was in Boilers Rock.
Oh man, I think all programs have challenges. I think in the years past, one of our challenges was our facilities. But now our facilities are on par, if not better than the majority around the country. Recruiting's tough. To try to look into a crystal ball and know if somebody's going to grow another 3 to 4 inches, know if somebody's going to materialize, know if somebody's going to work. It's difficult, and it's not an easy task that Coach Painter has. But I have nothing but faith in him and his staff. I think it's exciting that Brandon Brantley's back. It's exciting that Kenny Lowe's around. And it's we'll get our recruits. We'll get those guys. It's just a matter of time. And but I think the future's bright.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a general comment. Seems to be this scorched earth mentality out there right now because a couple of kids have committed to other schools the last couple of weeks. Remember the last 2 classes Purdue signed. If you get hung up on rankings, go back and look at those kids' rankings. It's not like Purdue's not getting players.
No, and I think looking at this question, I think more my question would be: it is a little different place to play though. Even as you played for Gene Cady, I mean, it has the reputation of being you got to work, you have to go to class here. I mean, it is a tougher place to play just because of the standard being set of how hard you're supposed to play. I mean, do you think that comes in? That isn't necessarily that just makes Purdue having to be maybe a better fit for somebody as they come in.
Yeah, it's a matter of the proper fit. I think we all have expectations. I think we expect guys to come in here and play hard. We expect them to go to class. Other programs might not, but. Like I said earlier, I think every school has challenges.
Yeah.
But I think our challenge is changing that mindset that we can't be great. Because I think the facilities, I think the coaches, I think we have enough things in place to take our program, to take our university to another level. And I mentioned a second ago, the future's bright. I think with Coach Painter, Coach Versup, Coach Hazel, I think we have a lot of great people, Coach Shondell, on down the line. We have some great people that are running the show, and I'm excited to kind of see how things continue to evolve.
Specifically basketball, Purdue has always had a lot of success with a certain type of player. You're probably the poster boy for that. Just sort of a very modest, very humble, very hardworking guy. Plays hard, et cetera, et cetera. That's sort of the culture. Obviously, the program wants to get back to right now after what happened last season. How much value can there be in having people like you, Kenny Lowe, Brandon Brantley back, guys who understand what this program's always been about?
Well, I think it's great. I think Brandon had tremendous success here. I think he won 3 championships, Big Ten championships. Kenny Lowe is somebody that's known as a worker, somebody that is will do whatever he can to succeed. And myself, so I think having us 3 around, I think is positive. We're able to share our experiences. We're able to talk about the tradition that Coach Cady essentially instilled in the program when he first arrived. But I think those guys are great, and I think this upcoming season will be exciting. Obviously, last year was a struggle, but I think with that, I think it motivated guys this summer. They worked extremely hard. I think it motivated the guys coming in, the young guys, and I think collectively we'll be obviously a much better team, and will be exciting to watch.
I'm going to ask you a football question, but a team dynamic question, really. Purdue last year in football took Notre Dame to the wire, last-second field goal, and the Irish got out alive. Is there something to, these guys that are returning that, though the first couple of weeks of the season may not have gone as planned, they know they can play with Notre Dame? You can maybe relate to some teams that you played against over the years where you might not on paper be as good, but you know that you played them at one point in time. How big a factor is that in a game like tomorrow night, do you think?
Well, I think it's big. I think mindset is big. I think to be able to have the mentality to go in there and know that you can compete, know that you have competed. I'm sure a lot of these guys look across and see guys that they either grew up against or played against in high school and so on. So I think there's a lot of, I think there's a huge mental game that goes along with it. Obviously, we need some luck, as they do. They need some luck. They need some plays to go their way in order to beat us. But I think the first 2 games were exciting because we learned a lot about our team. I think we learned a lot about the program. We obviously need to clean up on some of the mistakes. That's no mystery. But I think tomorrow's game will be exciting because it's Notre Dame. It's a massive rivalry, and I think the stadium's going to be packed, and it can't get any better than that under the lights.
All right, now we're down to a couple minutes left. Your funniest Gene Katie story where you've really managed to tick him off.
Oh man, Coach Katie.
And this is, like I said, this is
and we only have a couple minutes.
Keep in mind also, he's probably not watching.
Yeah, it's on the internet. You gotta be careful.
Coach Katie was great, and we wouldn't necessarily butt heads, but I would always question whether it was actually a foul or not when he would call it on us in practice. And one time, probably several times in that particular practice, I probably questioned one too many foul calls, and he ended up saying that he was going to make us all run. And so I remember I said, Coach, let me run, and because I'm thinking it's just going to be a down back. We're going to be done in less than a minute. I don't want to let everybody else run on because of me. And he said, okay, perfect. And so I did a down back, waiting for him to stop me. And about 8 to 10 minutes later, he stopped me. And so I didn't question him very often after that.
You were under 200 pounds after that.
Yes.
All right, the second final question, a good question about what do you follow what fans say on social media and message boards like goldenblack.com, and can you comment on how it affects student athletes, how it would have been different maybe in your day as well? I mean, you didn't have to deal with that. How does it make it tougher on student athletes today, you think?
Well, I think social media is tough. It's such a love-hate relationship. It's great because it allows athletes to interact with the fans, and sometimes it's hard because it allows the fans to interact with the athletes. It's a slippery slope. I definitely think it has a place with athletes. And I know when I was playing and I was on Twitter and all the other crazy things I was on, I loved talking after a good game.
Yeah.
I'd answer everybody's question under the sun when I played well. But then when I struggled, I didn't want to talk to anybody. But the questions were still coming in. So from an athlete's perspective, you have to know when you can turn it on and turn it off. And you have to realize that you're going to have some tough questions. You're going to have some people that don't think very highly of you. See, the great thing when I was playing, people would just yell at me during the game. That was the social media. They'd tell me they hated me. Now they can get on every different social media site and let me know that they weren't huge fans. But it's it has a place. But I think more than anything, the athletes have to know kind of when to turn it on, turn it off.
All right. Well, Brian Cardinal, thank you for taking the time to come and join us. You've got a busy weekend ahead and some business to take care of here in not only this afternoon, but a weekend of activity. Father of 3, and Danielle doing well, I assume, and the kids are doing well. So that's
Danielle's doing great. Kids are 6'5" and 2. My son's in
6'5" already.
Yeah, 6'5" at 2. It's unbelievable. 6'5" and 2. My son's 6, daughter's 5 and 2, and my son's he does a little flag football, and he doesn't understand. He tackles them, and then he takes the flag. So we're kind of working the whole football thing out, and but kids are the best. It's amazing to be around and to go to different events and play sports with them, and at the same time play Barbies and build Legos and all that good stuff. So it's a good time.
All right, Brian, thank you so much. We'll take a short break, let Brian get whiz back down to campus, and we'll bring in Kyle Charters along with Mike Allstott, and look forward to your questions for the second segment of Golden Black Live.
Purdue students, find your home away from home with Basham Rentals. Trusted for 3 generations to provide quality student housing. We are now leasing for next year, so call us to learn about our apartments and townhomes, all located at the edge of campus. We're eager to share information on our many units, supported by 24-hour maintenance. Basham Rentals. Call us at 743-8367 or look for us online at mybashamrentals.com or boilerapartments.com. Going to the Purdue game? Stay at Hilton Garden Inn, West Lafayette at the Wabash Landing. Your family will love the well-appointed guest rooms, the pool, whirlpool, fitness center, the breakfast buffet, and the amazing Hilton Garden Inn staff. Located just 4 blocks from Purdue University, Hilton Garden Inn has long been the choice for Purdue fans. Call today for a reservation and make Hilton Garden Inn your #1 choice.
Good driver? We've got a discount for that and a lot more. See State Farm agent Trent Johnson to make sure you get all the discounts you deserve on your car insurance. Saving you money? It's just part of being there. Call or visit Trent today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
More than the players on the field. More than coaches on the sidelines. More than the fans in the stands. More than just scores at the end of the night. It's the action, the stories, the heroes. It's the Friday Night Frenzy. It's the Friday Night Frenzy, and it's only on News 18. High school football from where you live.
Smile real big. It's segment 2, Gold and Black Live. Kyle Charters joins us. He's the guy in the middle, and Brian Newbern on the far right. And Mike Allstott, yes. Are you there?
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. We'll get your volume turned up just a little bit, but great to have you here. You're on the heels of Brian Cardinal was our first segment guest, and he was bummed that you weren't. He said, "How in the heck did he get away with being able to call in when Cardinal had to show up in person? That didn't seem right."
Well, how's everybody doing today?
Yeah, we're doing well up here, and obviously Purdue Notre Dame tomorrow. You played in 4 of those games during your time. It is a very special game for a Purdue player and a kid from the Chicago area like yourself. Talk about what it feels like to lace it up against the Fighting Irish.
Well, it's first of all, obviously. Playing Notre Dame, everybody grows up watching Notre Dame on TV every Saturday, and I was so fortunate to come to Purdue and then have that rivalry. Unfortunately, I never got a W, but my senior year we were coming very close to winning. But times I've been gone, I know Purdue's been very competitive against Notre Dame, and it's been a great game every Saturday, every year. So it's gonna be exciting. I'll be glued to the TV tomorrow night and cheering on the Boilers.
Just so you know, was there a palpable difference on campus, leading up to this game? I mean, it seems like, certainly now everybody gets excited, and I'm sure they did back then too.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing a national team, national television. It's just an exciting atmosphere. It's a state rivalry. It goes on and on and on. But I think if you're not, this is every kid that plays college would love to, at one time, would love to go to Notre Dame. But at the same time, when you have an opportunity to play against Notre Dame, you have to be at your best. And if you're not ready to play against the Irish, then when will you be? And it's just again, it's really, you have to get fired up to play against the tradition that the Fighting Irish have, and to be involved in that and be able to do that, what we can do, and be a spoiler, and be able to go out there and compete against the best. That's what it's all about.
Mike, those were some really, really good Notre Dame teams you played against back in your day. Was it the same environment in the stadium? Because Purdue, a lot might not have been expected of it. Did that take any edge off of it, or did that ramp it up even more?
What are you saying, because we weren't good?
I was trying to politely say something along those lines, but they were obviously heavy favorites every time. Did that take any sort of edge off the rivalry?
You have the Bettises and the Rick Myers and all the, with that tradition, that era of Notre Dame. But again, we went in there, we competed. I think my first couple of years we got it handed to us. But again, we grew as a team, and over the time, and we competed. For sure, I think we were on the 13-yard line with a minute and something to go, and had the opportunity to tie the game up my senior year. And you remember things like that, especially when you play Notre Dame. We played hard, but again, if you're not ready to play Notre Dame in the atmosphere, what's going to be on Saturday underneath the light at home, it's just going to be a great atmosphere, and it's got to be, it's got to be a time where you have to shine.
And I take you back to the '95 game. Obviously, I can remember Derek Brown's interception and just the reaction in that stadium when you guys had tied that game up. You battled back to get that game tied. You weren't able to hold them down the stretch. But take me back. He had over 100 yards rushing against the Irish, against a very good Lou Holtz defense at that time, or Bob Davie defense, actually coached the defense for the Irish as a position coach. But talk about that specific. That was about as loud as Ross-Ade Stadium maybe had been during your tenure in West Lafayette?
Yeah, I would say so, no question. For what we could do for, majority of the game to compete and have our fans involved in the game, especially my senior year, we were in a lot of games. Our record didn't show it, but we were very competitive, and we were in each and every game. Again, playing against Notre Dame, we grew the grass about a foot high, and we wanted to slow them down, which we did, and we pounded the ball. We ran between the tackles, and we tried to wear them down, and we were successful at it. Just couldn't prevail at the end.
How's coaching going for you?
I love it. I'm in hog heaven right now. Really, it's my second year as a head coach at Northside Christian High School, a little school here in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I am enjoying it. I got 42 kids, and we're really having a lot of fun. Last year wasn't the best of the years as far as record-wise, but we're starting to change the culture. We're starting to change the belief and the discipline and the commitment, and learning how to work in the off season and doing all the little details behind the scenes, what's going to make a difference on what we call Friday nights around here. And the kids are working hard. We have a game tonight, and it's going to be another good one.
Mike, what's Florida high school football been like relative to Chicago high school football that you came up in?
you know, I'm at two different perspectives here when it comes to the size of school that I coach at compared to the size of schools that I played against or at Chicago. Again, there was about 900 kids in my school. We're a 4A school and a 5A school. Down here, we're a 2A school. Still the same kind of levels. I think we go up to 6A, 7A here. And I know they go, I don't know, where do they go in Chicago now? The 12A?
Yeah, about.
I mean, it's grown so much since I've been gone, but it's still, but the feeling, the atmosphere, everything has to do with the opportunity to play this game that I so dearly love, and to teach life lessons through a game that's given me so much in my life, and to be able to hand that down to kids and coach them with passion and love and build the relationships. You know, I can go on, but it's something that I cherish every day.
We're looking through some pictures here, which you can't see, but the one of my favorites in your bag, I think, was a gold and black illustrated cover shot with you in the 1930s or maybe 20s style jersey
against Leary.
I hope they washed those in between, but I'm guessing they did. But you were obviously the great throwback player and played that way in the NFL. Who are some guys that remind me now in the league that remind yourself of yourself, so to speak, in terms of the top players that do what you did in the NFL very well right now?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't. I don't follow too close.
Yeah.
I watch, the Bucks. I watch the local. I watch, Monday Night Football and stuff like that. But I don't have a fantasy football account. I don't have all that stuff where I'm found individual players in the rosters and stuff. I am. You don't understand. I am so involved in high school football right now that it's 24/7, 7 days a week right now. And for the 100 days that we have our season, I got both feet in with this, and I'm not really sure. I know the league has changed tremendously. When I came in as a two-back type of offense, traditional fullback, it went back to around the time I went. It used to be the spread, like the Warren Moon, Randall Cunningham spread offense, run and shoot type of situation. Then emerged to more of the I formation with the traditional fullback. But they'd kind of gotten away from that a little bit in the NFL and went to the more scattier backs and opening it up a little bit more. Even look at what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're bringing in
crazy
53 plays in the first half. They're running, putting in more of a college huddle type of getting a signal from the sideline and stuff like that. So it's really, the game has really changed at the NFL level in all aspects. And but life has changed too. Even the demeanor of the players have changed, and so I'm not too certain how I would compare myself or somebody compare this up to me. Maybe you guys would know more.
Brian, go ahead.
Mike, just with the way offense has changed, with the option and now the spread option coming to the NFL and so much one-back stuff just all throughout football, do you think you might kind of go down as like the last great fullback?
I leave that for other people to talk about. I lived my dream. I was very blessed. I was very fortunate in a lot of aspects throughout my childhood all the way up into my professional career. That I lived my dream each and every day. And, being able to go to Purdue and be so fortunate and so involved and having the people in my life, and then going to the Buccaneers and having those people, I was truly, truly, truly blessed, because I just didn't, it wasn't all me. I mean, yes, I did work hard. Yes, I put everything into it that I needed to do, but it's kind of like the right place at the right time and with the right people that really grasped a hold of me and helped me become the player that I was, that I can, talk about that. But, people talk about the Hall of Fame, people talk about this. I go, you know what? if it happens, it happens. I did what I could do, and I'm going to move forward and enjoy what I'm doing now and help kids try to, live their dreams, that they want to continue their football career.
Now, you played with some interesting characters, and Billy Dick, and I spoke with him earlier this week, or actually he was on our show last week, and he remembered you fondly. He would not to go into great detail some of your things that you guys did off the field, but thank God there wasn't social media then. But in all seriousness, you also played with Ryan Grigson, and talk about that experience and being able to identify guys that and what he's been able to do, obviously, in his professional career with the Indianapolis Colts. Did you see that coming?
No, I didn't, truthfully. But I knew he was going to be successful in whatever he did. Obviously, we tend to lose track of each other a little bit here and there as we continue growing in our professional lives, and so being so busy. I knew he was a scout, and he was moving up in the ranks, but I am so happy for him. It was an honor for me to be a captain my sophomore year with the Ryan Grigson and the Matt Kingsbury and all the other players that I grew up, at Purdue with. But it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing when you look back 20 years and you can see where guys have landed and what they're doing today. And Ryan's perfect for the job. He's perfect for the job. His personality, his determination to be the best and stuff like that. He showed it on the field, and obviously he's doing it with a first-class organization.
All right, well, Mike, we're going to let you go and get ready for you got a home game tonight, or are you on the road?
We're on the road.
All right, well, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and I know that there are legions of Purdue fans that wish that the Boilermakers had a number 40 in the backfield tomorrow night, but maybe there'll be another one that will emerge. But, hey, thanks so much for your time, and we'll look forward to seeing you up here hopefully before long, and hopefully having you on our show here sometime down the road.
I appreciate you having me, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
All
right, we're going to take a short break and bring in Stacy Clarity and just do some good old football talk, talk Purdue Notre Dame. There is a game tomorrow, by the way, and we'll hit that and be back in a couple minutes on Gold and Black Live.
Purdue students, find your home away from home with Basham Rentals. Trusted for 3 generations to provide quality student housing. We are now leasing for next year, so call us to learn about our apartments and townhomes, all located at the edge of campus. We're eager to share information on our many units, supported by 24-hour maintenance. Basham Rentals. Call us at 743-8367 or look for us online at mybashamrentals.com or boilerapartments.com. Going to the Purdue game? Stay at Hilton Garden Inn, West Lafayette at the Wabash Landing. Your family will love the well-appointed guest rooms, the pool, whirlpool, fitness center, the breakfast buffet, and the amazing Hilton Garden Inn staff. Located just 4 blocks from Purdue University, Hilton Garden Inn has long been the choice for Purdue fans. Call today for a reservation and make Hilton Garden Inn your #1 choice.
More than the players on the field. More than coaches on the sidelines. More than the fans in the stands. More than just scores at the end of the night. It's the action, the stories, the heroes. It's the Friday Night Frenzy. It's the Friday Night Frenzy, and it's only on News 18. High school football from where you live.
Segment 3, Gold and Black Live. Stacy Clarity joins us. Kyle Charters in the middle. You can read as well as I can, so probably better, actually. And, of course, we want to thank our sponsors, Hilton Garden Inn, Basham Rentals, Triple X Family Restaurants, and State Farm agent Trent Johnson. There is a football game tomorrow, and we actually this week, I don't sense the fact that we've talked this one to death, even though maybe you guys feel that way.
Maybe you haven't.
Maybe, yeah, right?
Yeah, maybe that's it. So, what are we going to see tomorrow night? Stacy, we'll start with you.
Jeez, that's a very broad question.
Okay, we're going to see a football game.
I would be surprised if it's competitive. I might as well just go right out in the gate with that and just say, well, it's not going to be competitive. That's a good way to start, huh?
Well,
We've been very wrong before.
We
in the
have,
past on
and
that.
I admitted that earlier on the on our radio show this morning. So I've been wrong the first 2 weeks about what I thought was going to happen didn't happen. But this is where I come from that statement, is that this offense, Purdue's offense, hasn't shown us anything to make us believe that it's going to perform now against a really good defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cincinnati was, pretty good defense, I guess, and Indiana State not so good, and they really didn't do anything against Indiana State. So, like, what makes where's the faith come from, I guess, if you're a Purdue fan right now, to what you think this offense can be against a front seven that's maybe one of the best in the country?
And the message offensively this week has been to stay on schedule. So pick up 3 or 4 yards on first down, and then 3 or 4 more on second down, and get yourself into a third and manageable, which I think you illustrated pretty well earlier this week that they have not been
able to do that.
Yeah, not been able to do that to keep it to third and short. The problem with, while that sounds good, you'd like to be able to play that consistently. They haven't shown anything that leads you to believe that they can, march the ball down the field 3 or 4 yards at a time like that without getting a penalty that sets them back, or without having a delay, or without a drop by a receiver, or something else that instead of second down and 6 or second and 5, it's second and 10, and then you're at 3rd and 8, and then all of a sudden the drive is over and you haven't done anything productive. And I think they need to be able to stay on schedule. I just don't think they're going to be able to do it against that Notre Dame defense.
Yeah, and yet Notre Dame's defense, obviously, I know against Michigan, and Michigan has probably looked to be about as good as any Big Ten team as I've seen in a while offensively, especially Devin Gardner. Yeah, I would agree that it's troubling just based on past performance. You have to hope if you're thinking that it's going to be a competitive game, that something happens, that all of a sudden some things come together. Or
Which
somebody
it can. It absolutely can.
Yeah, and somebody that comes out of the woodwork that you just don't expect. And then, of course, that could be, I don't know, could be Brandon. I'm not saying Brandon Cottom, but I'm just, yes, I am saying it. But somebody like that comes in and does something that surprises not only the Purdue fans in attendance, but surprises Notre Dame's bench.
But I don't know if it can be a skill player, really. I mean, because this offensive line, it has to be where it starts. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jordan Roos in place of Trevor Foy, maybe not to start the game, but certainly at some point in the game. And Jason King may take over left guard for a while, too. I think they're still trying, they've started those same 5 guys, but I think they're trying to find which group is going to work the best together, because I don't think they have that yet. These may be their best 5, just from sheer talent, but do they work well together? I mean, can they find another group that maybe this guy can do something better than the other guy, and they can kind of come together? And when you look at Notre Dame's defensive front, those 3 guys are going to make it a real challenge for Purdue to generate anything. So even if Brandon Cottom plays, well, who's going to block for Brandon Cottom? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you can just say a skill guy can make a difference. Even if you have one big play, that's not enough. You need big play after big play after big play against a team like this, I think.
And Notre Dame's weakness appears to be defensively in the secondary.
Right.
I don't know if Purdue right now is equipped to be able to take advantage of the biggest Notre Dame weakness. Because to do that, you're going to have to try and soften them up front, I think. That's going to be a challenge. And then getting the ball downfield, an even bigger challenge.
Yeah, and we have questions on certainly on the quarterback question and the question of the week in terms of, how long does Darrell Hazel continue to go? And that's always a question when an offense is sputtering and that the quarterback comes into question. But talk about how that looks going forward and what that does look like for Purdue. Do you sense that this is still Rob Henry's game? I'll let Kyle start with that.
Oh, you both hate this question.
Well, Rob Henry's the quarterback. I mean, it's just as simple as that. And I know a lot of people want to bury the quarterback when the offense is struggling, and there's some logic to that. But, you know, I think that no matter what quarterback was in there, you'd be having some problems right now. And they've chosen to go with Rob Henry, and I don't see them changing that right now. Now, down the line, I think there's a possibility. But what I have said from the middle of the first game of the season, which is only a game and a half ago, that if you brought in one of the young guys, some problems might be solved, but you would welcome in a whole host of other problems. And I'm just not sure that the trade-off is worth it. And you have a head coach who wants to stick with his plan.
And Rob Henry has the element of having escapability, which I don't think the other two necessarily have. And just having watched the first two games, I think that their quarterback needs to have that element to him. Will we see more option this week? That's a question that everybody's asking. I asked Daryl Hazel that. He just stared at me and didn't answer. And so I'm thinking, that seems like they might be doing more option this week. And then Rob Henry was asked the same question, and he said no comment. So I put money on them running some more option this week. They're going to roll Rob Henry out too. They need to keep him protected. So I think that I'm not saying that I like John Shoop's offense. I really do. They just need to be in it more. You know, we're only in 2 weeks now, and all of a sudden that's the problem with this schedule. You don't have time to grow in this offense. You are out there against teams that are just going to come at you every week, and that is just a really bad, unfortunate scenario for Purdue with this new coaching staff, that they're putting them out there against teams that are good and ready to go right now, and Purdue just isn't.
They got to do some things to help them, though. The option is one, I think, quick, 3-step type drops. The receivers have got to do something to find some space, I think, which, you're talking about a top 3 receiving core who, is sophomore, freshman, right? And then you get to Gary Bush, who's a senior, but there's just not a whole lot of experience out there. But they have to do something to help him out. Because, you can't just let him flounder out there with what's going on right now. You've got to make some adjustments.
And intensity and excitement that we remember the game 2 years ago where it almost seemed like it was over on the first play when Caleb Terbush throws an interception and Notre Dame scores about 3 plays later, and the air was out of the balloon. This is a team, though, and a program that Daryl Hazel, we knew that it was going to take some time. I don't think anybody's going to debate that. Right. But that wanted to get, have some of these big moments even in year one. It is stating the obvious here, to their advantage to make this as competitive a football game, just because my biggest concern is what does this program have to build on over this 6-week period? What will be a fair measuring stick? And it may not be wins and it won't be wins and losses in all likelihood over the next 6 weeks, but how are we going to measure the progress of this football team, and what will that do to energize fans?
Well, we thought the way that we were going to be able to measure was by seeing disciplined, hard-nosed, competitive football, and I think that's been the biggest disappointment from the first couple of weeks, is that they've not had the discipline that we anticipated seeing. Maybe it was unrealistic, I'm not really sure. Yeah. We didn't anticipate them getting blown out in game one, and didn't anticipate it being close in game 2. So I don't think it's record so much that's bothering people right now. It's the way in which Purdue has gotten there, and it just hasn't been what we anticipated. And they need to. That's the way they need to play. You need to see more discipline, more focus, less communication problems. You need to see some competitive fire. And don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying they're playing without effort. I think they're playing with effort. But you just got to see something that leads you to believe that one of these days they're going to knock some of these teams off.
Agree?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm saving
We're
my
conserving
voice.
Stacy's voice as we've been passing it cold from person to person, I think, in our office over the last couple of weeks. You look at Daryl Hazel, and nobody's around him more than you two, and Stacy, I think, maybe even with going to the shows, and we went to the luncheon on Wednesday. Any change in his, which is a rhetorical question, there hasn't been any change in my view. He's the same kind of guy, very positive about what he's seeing, but what do you think he's taking from all this at this point?
He just wants his team to improve each week. I mean, in whatever facet that's in whatever increment that's in. And he's seen it so far. Granted, we've only been through 2 games, but I think that's the biggest thing. And he said that too about, we were talking about the win-loss record, and he's like, just evaluate us at the end of the year. That's what he wants. He's like, don't panic, don't freak out. Just wait till we get to the end of the year and then evaluate us, and then we'll go from there. So he's smart enough to know that there are some talent deficiencies on this team, and that it's going to take a while. He's not going to say that publicly, but we know that he knows that, and the staff understands that. You could tell. The one thing that was really interesting in practice this week, I thought that the staff was like really hard on the guys. I mean, you could tell from the staff, if nobody else, that this was Notre Dame week. I mean, they were nothing could happen without them getting all over a guy. Every single play, there was a coach either encouraging a guy or yelling at him. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Probably more the latter.
Yeah. But I mean, having seen, the first week against Cincinnati, we've been at practice Tuesdays and Wednesdays the last 2 weeks, and it was totally different than from what the Cincinnati or Indiana State prep was. So I thought that was really interesting that they know that they need to get these guys going and really kind of get them starting to produce.
Now, I know that one of our students, Tyler Oakes, came in today, and I've not been following Twitter in real time, as I often don't. And supposedly, Coach Greg Hudson gave some great anything to shed on that?
Yeah, Daryl talked about it last night. Last night was Thursday, right?
Thursday.
Yeah, okay. That's what happens with the cold.
Yeah.
At his radio show, that Hudson, his blood pressure was up because he gave some, amazing
Passion.
speech or whatever, and of course Daryl wouldn't share what that was about. But yeah, on Twitter, then a bunch of the players went out and said, that was the best thing I've ever heard, best pregame speech ever. So we don't know what it was, but that was what it was about.
And Greg Hudson, of course, a Notre Dame grad, and was around, I think, for the national championship time of Notre Dame's most recent national championship, I believe, 1988. So, is it going to take more than that? I mean, all right, give me 3 things that have to happen for Purdue to make this a 4-quarter game tomorrow.
Black helmets, I think.
Not happening.
Oh, Kyle hates the uniform stuff.
I hate uniform discussion. I don't care.
Okay, I do care, but they're not.
I don't
they're
care.
Not. They're going to be in black on gold, right?
No, black on black.
Right, a gold helmet.
Gold
I'm sorry.
helmet.
Gold helmet, yeah, black jersey, black pants, and then
2 or 3 things that have to happen.
we're assuming gold helmet.
Special teams has to give Purdue the ball in at least good field position on a possession or 2 to give the offense short yardage to be able to score. The defense needs to do something similar, either score or give them short field on a possession. And then the offense has got to, do something itself, produce 10 to 13 points. Maybe that gets you to 25 points if those things happen, and then I think you got a chance to win the game. You don't score, you're not going to win. Because Notre Dame's going to put points in. They're going to score.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to score 20, 25 to win, right?
Yeah. I
So
think that's one
that's
of
how
the
you
best
get there.
analysis we've had. You have to score to win.
Yes.
I
It's a
think
scoring game.
I think that Rob Henry needs to start fast, and I think they're going to try to do things to help him do that, whether it's like what Kyle said, kind of a quick, short passing game, 3-step drops, get it out of his hand really quickly, or have him run the ball some, just to try to get him comfortable, because even though I don't think he's the main reason for the offensive struggles, he certainly is the leader of this offense, and he needs to be better. So I think if you can get him feeling comfortable and confident, that's going to be really huge for this offense to really have a chance.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna predictions are on the site now, but we'll let you.
Are they
you
on the
give them-
site?
I don't know if they are, but maybe they're coming out at 3 o'clock.
We can do a sneak peek of the predictions. I'm
give-
sure
give
everybody
us a
really
quick-
cares about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
No, they're not up. I have Notre Dame 27-10, which is under the spread.
I think we're all under the spread.
I got it right on it. And my prediction makes no sense, but I got Notre Dame 41 to 20. Because everything I just said, I still have Purdue with 20 points somehow, but they gave up 41 and lose.
34-16, but I
16, huh?
I don't know how they get to 16. Maybe
Two
3
two-point
field-
conversions?
No, 3 field goals. I don't know.
3
I'm not
field
sure.
goals.
And then 1
And a
touchdown.
touchdown, yeah.
Oh.
7 plus 9 is 16. So yeah, and yet I'm not. I'm just saying that I keep saying to myself, I've seen stranger things happen. This would be a strange one. And a lot of people have asked about the correlation to 1997. I think there are some interesting sidelights. You have quarterbacks that were struggling, and Billy Dicken and Rob Henry. You have offense, but you don't have returning all Big Ten level players in Brian Alford and certainly Roosevelt Colvin and the like there. And I think that makes a difference. But it is going to take a special effort for Purdue, I think, to state the obvious here, to be competitive tomorrow. So, all right, well, we'll be back next week. And before you guys drive off to Madison for the Purdue first Big Ten game, a 3:30 start in Madison. Tomorrow start 8 o'clock. Also, Purdue Sports asked us to remind folks that State Road 231 will be open tomorrow. Some new traffic patterns around the stadium, so make sure you check that out. Of course, with a game at 8 o'clock, there'll be plenty of time to get yourself there and enjoy it, which I think is going to be a beautiful day in West Lafayette. I want to thank Kim and Gordon back in the back that helped us from WLFI. Also our guest, Brian Cardinal, and of course Mike Allstott, Brian Newbert, Bob Ferguson, who's been with Golden Black, who's a shareholder for 20, well, he doesn't want to know how long it's been. It's been a couple weeks, actually, for Bob, but a great supporter of ours. He's our studio audience today. He gets parting gifts before we go. But thank you all for joining us, and also thank you to our sponsors, Hilton Garden Inn, State Farm agent Trent Johnson, Basham Reynolds, and of course, who would be our fourth sponsor, the Triple X Family Restaurants. They'll have a big weekend because there'll be a lot of revelers out to enjoy this weekend. So thanks again. We'll look forward to seeing you next week on Golden Black Live.